Next on Eyewitness News at 6, an overnight ordeal in the Santa Cruz Mountains. You'll hear how a 10-year-old boy finally made it to safety. Then the FBI confirms new information about the Unabomber and the target of one of his letters. Also tonight, a landslide so powerful it blocked a river. But is a local lumber company responsible? The news is next.
From KPIX Channel 5, this is Eyewitness News at 6.
A 10-year-old boy is finally back with his family tonight after a hike in the woods turned into a long and scary night in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Good evening. Searchers came from 5 counties, but in the end, the boy found help on his own. The story began late yesterday when Surya Murali somehow got separated from his family at Big Basin. He covered 10 miles of rugged country by the time he was found today. Tony Rusomano is in the Santa Cruz Mountains now to bring us the story. Tony?
Anna, he was in good physical condition with lots of energy, even for a 10-year-old, but no one expected him to walk as far as he did, as fast as he did, and end up so far away from the searchers who were looking for him here in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
You had something to eat? Okay.
10-year-old Surya Murali had been lost and separated from his parents in Big Basin Park for only 4 hours when he found a man standing next to a van with a dog.
I just met one person in a van, and he had a Doberman with him.
That was around 8:30 last night. Surya expected his adventure to end then, with the man taking him back to his parents, except for one thing.
We were about to go back when the van he was in, it got stuck.
So the boy, the unidentified man, and the Doberman all spent the night in the van, while searchers from 5 counties mobilized to try to find the missing youngster. Surya had run ahead of his parents on a hiking trail near the Big Basin Park Ranger Station. The family was visiting relatives who live in the Bay Area, and they had all decided to go for a walk in the woods.
There was a branch in the road. When we reached the branch in the road and we didn't find him there, that's when we got really concerned, and we fanned out on all possible paths and searched for him.
The Kuwaiti-born East Indian youngster took off down the wrong trail and kept walking. The redwood forest was a new experience for him. He had no outdoor survival training. He walked 10 miles from the place he was last seen to the disabled van, where he was eventually found by another hiker this afternoon and taken to the ranger station at Butano State Park. Searchers said they were amazed the boy walked as far as he did and ended up in such good shape. One 15-year-old volunteer on the search says anyone lost should stay put.
They should hug a tree, and they should stay in one place and make sure that they stay on trails. And like if they're around dirt area, like you should put like SOS or something, and like make some mark that tells that they were there.
Surya and his family are back at their relatives' home in the Bay Area tonight. The family plans to continue on with their vacation tomorrow, but Surya says he's had it with camping and hiking also. And one other loose end, rangers thought initially that the person with the disabled van might still be stranded out there, but apparently he was able to get out on his own. Anna?
A good ending. Thanks, Tony. Mendocino County has a new dam, and tonight there's a fight going on over who created it and what should be done about it. Environmentalists say loggers are to blame for the huge slide that dammed the Navarro River. The Louisiana Pacific Company calls the slide, quote, an act of God. Len Ramirez has the story.
It is one of the biggest and deepest landslides in Northern California. After months of heavy rains, a 9-acre section of hillside near Boonville in Mendocino County gave way sometime in March, sending tons of mud, rocks, and trees into the Navarro River. Local environmentalists say the resulting dam and river rapids threaten an already fragile fishery here.
The effect is going to be devastating for the fishery because we don't know whether fish can actually get upstream anymore, so they'd be limited to just the estuary.
The land around the slide belongs to the Louisiana Pacific Corporation. The company has termed the slide an act of God, a view that's shared by state geologists. And one company official was quoted by the Associated Press as saying, things like this do occur, but anything dealing with the timber company in this area gets to be news. Louisiana Pacific's activities have been closely monitored by groups like the Sierra Club since it began logging here in 1988. Kathy Bailey argues that logging roads and tree cutting weaken the hillside.
There was a road at the top and 2 roads down at the bottom, and the bottom roads cut the toe out of it, and the top roads concentrated the water onto the slope. And by taking all those trees off, the roots were rotten, and there was nothing left to hold the soil, so it all started coming downhill.
Environmentalists say they will be lobbying for tougher regulations on steep hillside timber harvesting in the future. For now, tourist-related businesses around Boonville are wondering what effect the slide will have on them. The gentle flow of the Navarro River attracts thousands of people every summer for canoeing and river rafting. Before the slide, you could canoe all the way from the town of Boonville to the Pacific Ocean, a distance of about 15 miles without a major obstacle. Whatever its cause, the slide has done one thing. It has changed the face of the river along this section, perhaps forever. Near Boonville, Len Ramirez, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Len called the Louisiana Pacific Company for further comment. They did not return his calls today. Tonight, the FBI is confirming that a letter received by a Nobel Prize-winning scientist in Boston is in fact from the Unabomber and was sent from Oakland. Richard Roberts, seen here at a news conference discussing the Nobel Prize, received the letter at New England Biolabs in Beverly, Massachusetts. It was postmarked April 20th. The FBI says it was one of 4 letters mailed on the same day that a package bomb was sent to the Forestry Association in Sacramento, a bomb that killed a forest industry lobbyist. And a cafe in San Francisco's North Beach has been the target of an FBI raid today. The owner of the Portofino Cafe and his 2 sons were among 20 people arrested as suspected cocaine dealers. An FBI spokesman says their operation stretched from Marin County to San Jose. The arrests come after a 3-year undercover investigation. In Los Angeles, the prosecution began the most complex and important part of its case against O.J. Simpson. Without any actual witnesses, the prosecution is counting on DNA evidence and the jury's ability to understand it. Manuel Ramos joins us now from the newsroom with more on today's genetic testimony. Manny?
Well, Lana, a scientist took the stand today to convince the jury that sometimes blood evidence is as good as a fingerprint. And someone very important to O.J. Simpson returned to the courtroom. Simpson's mother, Eunice, returned to the court for the first time in weeks. She's been ill. She was in a wheelchair. Ironically, on the stand, a scientist was talking about how a person's DNA is determined by their parents. Dr. Robin Cotton was brought in to teach the basics of DNA to the jury.
If we make the assumption that a blueprint contains all the information for how to build your house, the DNA, the analogy is the DNA contains all the information on how to build you.
There was a river of blood at the murder scene from the victims, and the prosecution says there were drops of Simpson's blood there and at his house, and that's how they plan to link him to the crimes. But first, Dr. Cotton has to make DNA evidence simple enough for the jury to understand. Most of the time, she spoke directly to the jurors, like a teacher.
If you unwind the DNA from the chromosome, for each one, you would have a very long thread.
The defense says the evidence was planted and tried to show that someone had a chance to put blood in the Bronco when it was towed away from Simpson's home. The tow truck driver was on the stand earlier this morning.
You were by yourself at this point, and so when you went in to try to locate the detective, you left the vehicle on the street, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so how long were you away from that vehicle when you left it?
Approximately 3 minutes, just to go inside.
The scientist was using very simple terms to explain DNA to the jury, maybe too simple for some of the jurors. At one point, some of them were seen rolling their eyes. Reporting live, I'm Manuel Ramos.
Thanks, Manny. Tonight, we have an update on actor Gary Busey's condition. Today, Busey was released from a Santa Monica hospital after an apparent drug overdose. He was rushed to the hospital last week after being found unconscious in his Malibu home. At that time, police found 1.5 grams of cocaine in his pocket. He may still face charges of drug possession. Up next as we continue, what does $81 million buy you in downtown Oakland?
And I'm Cheryl Hurd. It will buy you a City Hall restoration project. I'll have that story coming up.
Then dramatic pictures of the tornadoes that caused so much destruction in the Midwest. And retired quarterback Joe Montana apparently has a new career tonight. We'll find out what it is.
A fatal infection hit Chicago Hope.
There's a bug in our hospital.
A deadly killer.
3 patients are dead.
That's out of control.
Where does it come from?
What the hell is going on?
How does it grow? Oh, my God.
On Monday, every life is in jeopardy, and not everyone will survive.
The doors of Chicago Hope are closed.
An all-new Chicago Hope.
Just when you get really good at being a baby, boom, you're a kid. Just when you're an expert at being a kid, you're a teenager. And when you've got the whole teenage thing nailed, you're an adult. Wouldn't it it be nice to enter a new stage of life as wise as when you leave it? A money agent can help you make the right financial moves now. Because with time, we all get wiser. The trick is to get smart early enough to do you some good.
They're a natural source of protein, vitamins, and cost only pennies. In fact, it's amazing what California eggs can do.
Critics are calling The Englishman one of the best comedies of the year.
Really?
If you like 4 weddings and a funeral, you'll love this.
Are you married?
Hugh Grant is The Englishman who went up a hill, rated PG. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
With the Dodge Stratus introductory lease rate, Californians can get Dodge's newest offering for an insignificant sum, which includes a large list of equipment like air, power windows, locks and mirrors, AM/FM cassette, and more for a minuscule amount. Just $219 a month. The new Dodge Stratus. Lease it now for just $219 a month. Dodge Stratus introductory lease. Only at your California Dodge dealer.
Oakland City workers are slowly but surely starting to move into the newly refurbished City Hall. The big question is, can the city afford it? Cheryl Hurd joins us now to bring us some perspective. Cheryl?
Anna, I'm sure a lot of folks out there remember Oakland City Hall was condemned after the Loma Prieta quake back in 1989. For the past 5.5 years, they've been working on restoring this building to look like it did 81 years ago, to the tune of $81 million.
There's a handicapped
Bruce Moen, construction manager for the restoration project, gave us a grand tour of the new Oakland City Hall.
This woodwork is original woodwork that was on the building. It had actually been painted. We have stripped it and now have varnished it.
Moen speaks of this building like a proud father, and so does one employee who just moved back into the building.
Trying to accomplish a lot of things, trying to one, make the building earthquake safe, second, trying to restore it historically.
This is actually an oasis.
An oasis with a huge price tag. The projected restoration cost for the new City Hall is $81 million. $61 million of that will be paid by federal and state money. $20 million will come from the city. What are they getting? Total seismic retrofitting, electronic card key machine to enter the building, a beautiful atrium, a high-tech council chambers with TV monitors, and restored mayor's office with fireplace. Both are under wraps. The furniture is said to be a bit pricey. One report says the city is paying $1,000 for some of the chairs. Is that the $1,000 chair?
No.
How much does that chair cost?
Well, that one has probably been around a long time.
City officials say some furniture will be expensive, but
these are the public places of heaviest use in the City Hall, and we are restoring them for our children and our children's children.
Some people who work in the shadows of the building are upset over the cost of restoration.
The place should have been demolished instead of reconstructed.
All downtown. Look at it, it's deteriorating. And that's going to be the only thing sitting down here is that what's left of this building and the federal building. And we're having cutbacks.
Now, if you think Oakland is spending too much money, let's compare it quickly to San Francisco City Hall's restoration project. Seismic alone is costing them $102 million. And then in November, they're going to have to go back to the taxpayers and ask for an additional $95 million. So Oakland is getting off cheap if you want to compare it to San Francisco. That's the story from here. Reporting live in Oakland, I'm Cheryl Hurd. Anna, back to you.
Well, Cheryl, is that $81 million the final, or could there be additional costs?
There could be some additional costs. Right now, we just don't know how much.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Well, there's a lot more news ahead tonight. When we come back, the plane crash that killed 6 members of a California family. We'll also look at the damage left by some incredible tornadoes in Texas and Oklahoma.
Plus, do you have any idea of how many tornadoes touch down in this part of the United States each year? The numbers are staggering. That plus your local forecast just ahead.
Next on Extra, top playmates get down and dirty. Denzel's hot new movie plus Meg Ryan's on-screen lover.
Extra. Do you love it? I love it. I got it at Ross.
Do you love it?
Do you love it?
Do you love it?
I got it at Ross. I got it at Ross.
At Ross, you'll save up to 60% on the latest summer fashions. Don't you just love it?
Love it.
I got it at Ross. I love it. Do you love it? I got it at
love
Ross.
Got it at Ross.
Ross, unbeatable savings on the best brands every day.
Shotgun!
Ever try to fit your friends in the back seat of the average sports car?
Oh, perfect.
Introducing the Nissan 200 SX. With a back seat big enough for 2 full-sized adults, legs and all. The new Nissan 200 SX, the sports car for today's world.
Now Kodak, Payless Drugs, and Thrifty Drug invite you to celebrate 40 years of Disneyland adventures. With every purchase of one of these Kodak products at Payless Drugs and Thrifty Drug, you'll receive one of 4 commemorative Disneyland posters. Each poster highlights 10 years of magical Disneyland memories and offers great Disneyland vacation bargains, as low as $135 per person, excluding air. Collect all 4. Come in today and celebrate Disneyland's 40 years of adventures.
You know, when you buy a big, thick, juicy Superstar at Carl's Jr., you get a pair of high tops with red spots on them, free. If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face.
Rescuers in Utah have found the wreckage of a private plane carrying 6 members of a California family. They discovered the Cessna earlier today, about 20 miles west of Milford, Utah. All 6 members of the family from Visalia were killed. According to the FAA, the plane was headed from Provo to Visalia when the crash occurred. The cause is still not known. Tornadoes ripped through southern Oklahoma and northern Texas over this weekend, killing 21 people and injuring 400 others. John Zarella reports on the damage in Ardmore, Oklahoma, where 5 tornadoes touched down.
A powerful tornado dropped from the sky late Sunday afternoon, captured by a television news crew as it cut an 8-mile path of destruction.
I've got major damage at the Ural plant. It's totally destroyed the Ural plant.
The twister slammed into a Uniroyal tire plant in Ardmore, Oklahoma. 500 people were inside, but had gone to interior shelters before it hit.
And then all of a sudden, our ears, they all started hurting real bad. It was just, everybody started, and then the lights went completely off, no lights. And where we were at, it was all completely dark, nothing come on. And we looked, that was just about it. I mean, it went so fast, we didn't even know it done nothing like this. I mean, it's just amazing. All we heard was a little wind.
The twister, which eyewitnesses say was on the ground for at least 5 minutes, was part of a severe storm system that moved through south central Oklahoma. Emergency vehicles rushed from surrounding communities to Ardmore, but fortunately there were only a few minor injuries. At a truck stop a few hundred yards away from the tire plant, dozens of people raced for cover.
The glass just broke in the front here, and it was like a cannon went out. It was unbelievable. It was pretty scary.
The tornado smashed dozens of cars and broke windows, but the people of Ardmore were lucky. Had this tornado hit during shift change, workers here say they may not have made it through alive. John Zarella, Ardmore, Oklahoma.
Well, we've seen the enormous power of those tornadoes that hit the Midwest. Meteorologist Brian Sussman has more on that now. Brian, that's incredible.
Anna, here's the freeze frame of that very twister. The funnel extending from the base of the clouds has winds several hundred miles per hour. The funnel is actually visible because of condensed water vapor as well as dust and debris being sucked into the base of the funnel up into the cloud. Now, let's take a look at a few maps. You're going to be surprised by this. Quite simply, it's caused by cold, dry air, in this case, leftover winter air, meeting up with warm, humid air from the Gulf of Mexico. Showers, thunderstorms ensue, and in this case, some tornadoes touch down. By the month, May and June see the largest number of twisters during the course of the year. In May, on the average in the United States, 155 tornadoes. So this really is tornado month. And if you break it down by state, Texas sees the most, 120 per year. Oklahoma, 58 per year. But notice, Oklahoma, you could fit like 4 of those states into Texas. So by square mile, Oklahoma sees much more in terms of tornadoes each year. Now, the Bay Area forecast is calling for increasing cloudiness. Let me show you why. We'll go to satellite, a number of pictures we've looped together for you over the past 18 hours. See this band of clouds right here? That's the tail end of a very weak front that's swinging into Northern California right now. So again, tonight we go with increasing cloudiness, chance of some light rain later tonight. Variable cloudiness tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies, maybe a few light showers. Best chance of rain, though, is north of the bay, especially as you get up towards the Oregon state line. Other than tomorrow, once we get into the rest of the week, it looks like we're going to be pretty fair, with temperatures getting back into the 70s. Up in the high country, they could see another dusting of snow, but partly cloudy skies will be developing come Wednesday.
It's a virtual smorgasbord.
Yes.
Forget everything. Thanks, Brian. Well, the weather didn't affect Sharks fans. A day after the upset over the Calgary Flames, Sharks fans braved the chill for a chance to grab a pair of playoff tickets. Of course, Dan Kerman has more from San Jose.
Die-hard Sharks fans were already in line by 8 o'clock this morning.
I want to be there to scream at the refs when they make all the bad calls, because I have one of the biggest mouths in San Jose. Want to be there to support my team.
Oh, I think they have a pretty good chance. They have a spirited team, they have a talented team, and youth means a lot.
You need to have full payment in order to receive a wristband.
This year, tickets were not sold on a first-come, first-served basis. Instead, people were given numbered wristbands. What numbers do you have?
I got 4682. 4683.
Once again, the number that was chosen was 4775.
At 9:30, one of the numbers was chosen at random, and that's where the line began. You're number one.
Yes, I'm lucky today, I guess.
So you've gone from number one to like...
about 150th person in line now.
At 10 a.m., ticket sales began for playoff games 3 and 4, and within 25 minutes, only obstructed view seats were left. Only 125 people getting good seats.
Sure, I'm disappointed, but I'll still watch the game. I'll still be screaming my guts out, you know.
For the hundreds who didn't make it this time around, there is one small ray of hope, and that is the hope that the series will go to at least 6 games, because Game 6 takes place here at the Shark Tank. If Game 6 is needed, those tickets will go on sale later this week or early next week. In San Jose, Dan Kerman, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Dan Fouts is here now. Not all the sports news was so upbeat.
That's right, Anna. Domestic problems for a National League manager, problems for the Calgary Flames, and big problems for the U.S. in the America's Cup. We'll solve none of the above in a moment.
Tonics, extracts, and vitamins. Natural cures are all the rage. Some call it a new chapter in medical history. See why this man is telling a different story. Tui Vu takes an in-depth look at alternative medicine tonight on Channel 5 Eyewitness News at 10.
The lionfish, a stunning example of the beauty that lies beneath the ocean's surface. But when threatened by a predator, its beauty becomes deadly. The venom in its delicate feathery spines can cause intense pain, followed by temporary paralysis and even death. To see the remarkable lionfish and nearly 3 dozen more, come to the Monterey Bay Aquarium's new exhibition, Deadly Beauties. Nature's full of surprises when you get beneath the surface.
This is your captain speaking. In preparation for the approach of summer, we're now beginning our descent. The forecast calls for low fares across the nation. Please remember to make your reservations immediately and remain seated until the commercial has come to a complete halt. Thank you for flying America West and have a nice trip.
For reservations, call your professional travel agent or America West.
In a little while, the beach won't look like this. It'll be full of people having the time of their lives. And with Weight Watchers' new Superstart program, you could get started enjoying the time of your life. We'll teach you to cut the fat, not the food, to help you get yourself in control and stay in control. Superstart works. I know. It's how I got started losing 30 pounds last year. Join now and you'll register absolutely free. But hurry, this offer ends Saturday. Come on, today's a great day to get started.
Confused by complex sports sedan leases? You're supposed to be, because they're designed to keep you from finding out how sporty their sticker prices really are. Or you can shop this value-priced Pontiac Grand Prix. Fully equipped, it starts and ends at just $17,495 with none of the back and forth. It seems simple, but your Pontiac dealer believes that if the price is fair, the rest is easy. Drive the new Grand Prix at your Pontiac Excitement Network dealer today.
Dan Fouts Sports, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Well, home water advantage isn't helping a whole lot in the America's Cup. Home name advantage isn't doing much good either. New Zealand's boat, the Black Magic, is about to make this series disappear rather quickly. The Kiwis beat Dennis Connor's Young America by 4 minutes, 14 seconds this afternoon in calm seas off San Diego. New Zealand now has a 2-0 lead in the best-of-9 competition. One U.S. helmsman said maybe they're just faster. Like the Padres might have said on Sunday of the Giants, maybe they just hit better than we do. The New York Post says Joe Montana's heading for NBC as a studio analyst, and I can't understand, for one, why TV executives are hiring so many ex-quarterbacks. The Athletics go for a series sweep tonight with the Texas Rangers. Roger Pavlik starts with the Rangers, and it'll be Ron Darling for the A's. One final in the National League, the Astros broke a 3-all tie with 3 in the 9th to win at Pittsburgh. The Giants open a 3-game series at Coors Field tomorrow night. In Atlanta today, Braves manager Bobby Cox appeared with his wife at a news conference. They said reports had been greatly exaggerated about a domestic dispute they had last night. Mrs. Cox had called police and Bobby was jailed briefly. He vehemently denied he had hit his wife.
There was no hitting of any sort. I grabbed her forehead and her hair a little bit just to keep her at a distance away from me, and because we were both going at it pretty good. Not yelling that much, but just, you know, she expected more out of me than I was giving her at that particular time.
Now, Cox remains the Brave manager. In fact, he's in uniform tonight as they're hosting Philadelphia. Former Michigan football head coach Gary Moeller pleaded no contest to an April 28th drunken outburst. His actions led to his resignation. It's not believed Moeller will spend any time in jail, though. In the NBA Western Conference playoffs, the Spurs lead the Lakers by 9 at the half. Please tune in at 10 o'clock tonight to see what color Dennis Rodman's hair is. It's a new do. Jamie Baker gets one of his 2 goals here in a beautiful move in the Sharks playoff opener last night against Calgary. San Jose led 4-1 and 5-2, but here it's 5-4 in the closing seconds. Check out Archer's Urbe come all the way out of the net here. Here is Robert Reichel. He's going to skate in and then miss from a real tough angle. The Sharks will hang on for a 5-4 win. Game 2 is tomorrow night in Calgary, and hopefully the Sharks can prevent those type of plays because they're playing awfully well.
They sure are. We'll keep our fingers crossed. See you
All
tonight
right.
at 10, Dan. Coming up on the news tonight at 10, is there such a thing as a right way and a wrong way to talk to your kids about sex? Dr. Ruth Westheimer paid a visit to our newsroom today.
Don't go to the kindergarten class and say, 1, 2, 3, pull your pants down.
Well, Dr. Ruth speaks her mind tonight at 10. We hope you'll join us. Finally, this is the 50th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. We'd like to leave you tonight with some images from a memorial service at San Francisco's Presidio.